Hello everyone and welcome back to the Code Corner. So today I'll be starting my second HTML and CSS tutorial video, and it's going to be about what is CSS, types of CSS, and some CSS basic styling. So we have a lot to get into, so let's get started. So first of all, we want to go to repl.it, and if you don't know what that is, you should watch my previous video where we went over how to get started in my HTML and CSS tutorial and some basic HTML structure. So if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. Link will be in the description. But for now, let's just go home to our repl.it and let's create a new repl. And let's do HTML, CSS, and JS. And let's just name it learning CSS. Really simple. So let's create repl. Oops, I already have one. So let's just do CSS. Okay, and we have this. Okay, so now loaded. Let's just move this down, and we have all this code. So let's just delete this. Okay, so now that we have this, let's just open this in a new tab. And since we have no code, there should be nothing there. Yep. And now I'll just do a little time lapse of me just writing some basic HTML structure, and you should also write it along with me. So here we go. Okay, so now that we have our basic HTML structure, now let's get into about CSS. So what is CSS? So CSS is an abbreviation for cascading style sheets. So as you know, the HTML, it specifies the content on the web page, like what is being displayed. CSS is controlling how the content looks like. It's defining the document style, the web page's style. So now that we know a little bit of background knowledge about CSS, now let's get into some types of CSS. So first off, we're just going to create a tag. Let's just do a little heading tag, really simple. H1. And let's have it say hello there. And if you watched my previous video, you know at the end of the video we went over a little sneak peek of some CSS. So let's just do the same thing. Style equals, and then in quotes we're going to do color, colon, and then red, and then semicolon. So just right there we define one type of CSS. And this is called inline CSS. So just like the name states, it's inline. It's actually in the tag. And this is called inline CSS. And it's really simple. You're just saying style, and then in quotes you're saying there's a color, and the color is red, and then a colon. It's really simple. But I don't exactly prefer to make web pages like this because it seems kind of messy. Just like all the content and all the style. I don't really like it too much. So we have that. So let's just delete this for now, and let's get into a different type of writing CSS. So we want to go into our head tag now. Let's make a couple of spaces, and now let's make a style tag. So now that we have a style tag, let's just make a few spaces in it. And so now I'll explain what we do. So this here is code. This is actual code, and we can also call this a selector in CSS. So we go here. Let's write H1. So now we're telling CSS, okay, so grab this H1 thing, this selector, and let's do something with it. So now to do something with it, we're going to create some curly braces. So you do the curly braces. Let's first enter. So now we have a basic structure of the CSS. And so this is a selector, and now in here we're gonna put the property and the value of what we're gonna do with this. So let's just do something simple. So color, let's do blue. So I'll just explain what this is. So this is the selector. This is what we're selecting from the HTML. This is the colon, we have to have this. And then this right here, the color, this is the property. This is the property of what we're going to do with this H1 tag. And this blue right here, this is the value. So now we're saying that this property, which is color, has a value of blue. and this property and value is going to be applied to this selector, which is the H1. Okay, so now that we have this should be able to create something that says hello there, and it's blue. That's really nice. So now we learned two types. So this is inline CSS. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is called internal CSS because it's inside the file. And I also don't really prefer to do CSS like this, especially when I have lots of CSS. If I don't have too much CSS, I would do it like this. But there's gonna be one more way that's going to be very helpful and really time saving. So we're just gonna delete this style thing for now. And now let's go to our different file. So we have our index.html file, we have our script.js file, and we have our style.css file. So let's go to our style.css file, and we just have blank. We just have nothing, and we should have nothing. So now let's just do the same thing that we did previously. So we have our selector, the curly braces, and then our color of let's do aqua. That seems nice. Aqua. And then we have this. So this is basically the same thing we're doing in our style tag here. So we're getting the selector, and the selector is going to have a property of color, and the value of it's going to be aqua. So this should just create a header that has a color of aqua. So let's just check it out. And let's go here and okay, so there's nothing, and that is actually supposed to happen because the way this is, I forgot to mention it again. This is external CSS. Okay, so there's supposed to be no color, and that's because since this is a different file, this index.html file doesn't actually know that there's different styling over here. But the way it knows is by doing this. So you may just want to copy what I'm doing. So just write link, and then rel equals style sheet. And then you would do href equals, oops, that's not supposed to happen. Href equals style.css. Okay, let's do this, and let's refresh it, and let's see what happens. And now we actually have aqua. Okay, so that's because now we're linking this style.css file to our actual HTML file. So now our HTML file knows, okay, so let's just get whatever code's in here and apply it to our content here. And that's nice. So now we have just pure HTML here, pure CSS here. So now that we've gone through the three types of CSS, inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS, now let's get into the fun stuff. Now let's get into actually styling our web page. So right now, we have an aqua text, and it has a really boring font. So let's fix this. So let's do space, and let's do text align. Oops, spelled it wrong. Align. Let's do center. Okay, so again, this is the property of the CSS. This is the value of the CSS. Okay, and then let's go here. And as you probably inferred before, it's saying text align. So we're aligning the text in the center. And as you can see, it's in the center. So now it doesn't have an offset. It's not at the right. It's not on the left. It's in the middle. And now we can also change this. Let's just change it to, let's do right. And it's going to go to the right. Right here. Yep, see? So now let's just change it back to center. And let's just check it just to see. And yeah, it should be right here. And you can always just test out different properties, different values to just see what you like and what you want to add to your web page. So we have this. Okay. Now you may be wondering, okay, well, so now we have it aligned, but what about the font? So here's where the fun stuff comes in. Okay, so you want to go to a different tab and type in fonts.google.com. So you want to do fonts.google.com. I'll link this in the description too if you can't find it. And you should get here. So it's called Google Fonts. And this is a really safe place to get fonts since it's by Google. And you can just get pretty much any font you want. And you can just find it here. And you can link it to your HTML file. So you can get really nice fonts. So you just want to scroll around here, find a good font. You don't need to get the same font as me. Like, so I want to get this one called Brie Serif. Okay, let's click it, and then you can select it. Select the style, whichever type you want. Now we're here. So it should say selected family. It should say review. Should have the name of it, what type it is. Okay, and then you should go to embed. This is the most important part. So then you want to link all this. So you want to copy this. Control C. And go here. Paste it. Wait. Oops. Okay. I completely failed that. Okay, now we have the correct link. Okay, so what this link is doing is saying it's getting this font called Brie Serif from this fonts.google.com. So now we can actually use this font for our CSS. So as you can see over here, it says CSS. So, CSS rules to specify families. Okay, so now let's just copy this as well. Control C. Let's go to our stylus CSS file, and again, this is the property. This is the value, and this is also another value. So the way you want to always get, so if you're doing a different font, it's gonna be the syntax, how you type it, is gonna be the complete same. So say you want to do like a different font, right? So it's always gonna be font family, and then you want to do quotes, and then you want to write the name of it. So since ours is called Brie Serif, we're gonna just write Brie Serif. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you want this to be right here, right? Okay, and then you want to do a comma, and then it says here that you want it to write serif here, and serif is another it's just another type, another style of a font. So you just want to add it there. Oops. Serif. Okay, let's go here. Now let's just refresh. And we should have a nice little heading that has the color aqua, and it should have a nice font. As you can see here, it looks really nice. It's not just that boring regular webpage font. So we have that. Okay. So now you may be wondering, okay, is that what we're gonna do? Well, actually no. So you can see that the whole web page is white. So we're going to do something to that. So we're going to do this. So you can see here, the H1 tag is in the body tag. And the body tag is actually the whole like web page and everything. So we can do something to that body. So since the body is a selector, we can just go here and do body. Same thing as the H1 tag. And let's add a background color. So it's the same thing as color, except it's going to add a background color to this. So let's do background color. Let's do blue violet. That seems nice. And semicolon. And let's see what it looks like now. Refresh. And oh, nice. So now it has a nice purple background. And it has a font that's an aqua color for the hello there text. That's cool. But so now let's just try out something. So let's add another piece of text, a paragraph tag. And let's add CSS is so much fun. Okay, let's go here, refresh, and you should see here, it's a paragraph tag that's small in a really boring font again. And you may be wondering, wait, why is that? Because we already have a font, so why shouldn't the font appear for that? Well, that's because we only applied the font to the H1 tag, so that means it's not coming to the P tag. So you may want to take some time to think about this, like how do we make it work so that the P tag has the font. So take some time to think about it, maybe pause the video. And yeah, so what we want to do is we want to take this font family out of here, and we want to put in the body tag, right? We want to put in the body tag because if you see here, the H1 and the H1 tag and the P tag are in the body tag, right? So if the font family is in the body tag, then that means the H1 and the P tag should have the same font. So let's go here, let's refresh, and it should have the font now. Yeah, now it looks a lot better. So now let's just add some more styling to that p tag. So again, we want to do the same thing, p, and then let's add a color of, I want to do green, semicolon, and let's do text, text align. Let's do center again. Okay, now let's go here, and boom. So now, okay, actually, I'm gonna change that a bit. Let's do white. Should look better now. Okay, now it looks better. Hello there, see, this is so much fun. Now we have a web page that has alignment, colors, fonts, and a background color for a web page. And this may seem just like a minimal web page, but in our future videos, we're going to cover a lot more topics, create a really, really nice web page that you can basically see on like anywhere on the internet. So that's basically it for this video. And in the next video, we're going to cover how to create links and images. And we're going to go over some more great tags that you can use to make your website look really, really great. So thank you all for taking the time to listen to my video. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.